10 amazing people born with extra body parts. Number 10. The boy with limbs on his chest. Childhood for Deepak Paswan, a 12-year-old boy from India, hasn't been easy, as he was born with the arms and legs of his underdeveloped twin growing out of his chest. Other children bullied him, calling him names such as devil and freak. Hindu pilgrims would often visit his home to worship him as an incarnation of the god Vishnu, who is often depicted with multiple additional limbs. Thankfully, in 2010, a charitable hospital in Bangalore offered to perform the $78,000 surgery that would give Deepak the chance to live a normal life, completely free of charge. The surgery was a phenomenal success. Today, Deepak is free to play and have fun like any other boy. He particularly enjoys playing cricket and celebrates the fact that he can now run faster than his two brothers. Number 9. The boy with 31 fingers and toes. In January 2016, a baby boy was born in the Hunan province, China, who has 15 fingers and 16 toes. Hong Hong, now 9 months old, was diagnosed with polydactylism, an inherited condition that affects approximately 1 in every 1,000 births. His mother also suffers from the condition and has 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. When she was pregnant, she worried that the baby would be affected, but no one could have imagined the full extent of it. After raising approximately $30,000, partly through crowdfunding online, Hong Hong's family were finally able to afford surgery. The brave little boy has quite a road ahead of him, with multiple rounds of surgery needed to remove the extra digits, reshape his hands, and reconstruct his thumbs. However, doctors are confident that Hong Hong will have full dexterity and be able to live a happy, healthy life by the time he starts school. Number 8. The woman with horns. Keratin spots are not that unusual. The dark spots, made of the same protein as our hair and nails, tend to occur in fair-skinned elderly adults who have had a lot of exposure to sun over their lives. But what is unusual is when they grow beyond a little spot, as was the case for 101-year-old Zhong Rufang from China. Rufang's son Zhong Zhuojiang said that initially they didn't pay much attention to the rough patch of skin on his mother's forehead. But when it grew into a staggering 6-centimeter long horn, they couldn't ignore it much longer. Luckily for Rufang, doctors have classified the horn as completely benign, and the cheery grandmother seems to be quite enjoying her new addition. She is even excited at the prospect of another spot on the other side of her head growing into a matching horn. Number 7. The girl with an extra pair of legs. Stories of amazing people with extra body parts are not exclusive to the modern day. In 1868, a girl was born with diphagus, a severe congenital deformity. Myrtle Corbin had been born with 2 separate pelvises side by side, leading to an extra pair of legs. Each of her smaller inner legs was partnered with one of her stronger outer legs. Remarkably, Myrtle was able to move her inner legs as easily as her outer ones, but they were not strong enough for her to walk on them. For a short period during her teenage years, Myrtle performed in a traveling sideshow circuit called the Four-Legged Girl from Texas. According to contemporary accounts, she quite enjoyed the job. At the age of 19, she left performing to get married. Despite a few medical complications along the way, she went on to give birth to 4 daughters and a son. She died in 1928, aged 60. Number 6. The girl with a fetus on her back. Yin Xin from China had suffered all her life from the growth of her unborn twin attached to her body. When she was born, Yin was found to have a small arm on her back, but as she grew, it grew too. It started to look more human in shape, with fingers, a stomach, and a breast appearing. By the time she was 11 years old, over half of her back consisted of the underdeveloped fetus. Her parents had saved up for the operation to remove the fetus since Yin's birth, and by 2007, they finally had enough money. According to a case report published in the British Medical Journal, the extremely lengthy and complicated surgical procedure was successful. Number 5. The woman with a nipple on her foot. Third nipples are surprisingly common, occurring in approximately 1 in 18 people. They're created in the womb when, during the 4th week of pregnancy, the fetus begins growing breast tissue. This development occurs along 2 thick lines of skin, known as the milk lines, which stretch from above the armpits to the beginning of the legs. The milk lines usually fade away by about the 8th week of pregnancy, but when they take longer to disappear, breast tissue can grow in other places along the lines, hence extra nipples. For one woman, the milk lines must have continued exceptionally far down her legs, as she grew a 3rd nipple on the sole of her foot. Even more extraordinarily, a case report from 1827 details a French woman who had a complete 3rd breast on her left thigh, which even began to lactate after she gave birth so she could breastfeed her child from it. Number 4. The man with 5 kidneys. Brigham Nordstrom, a 28-year-old lawyer and keen rugby player from New Zealand, thought he was at the peak of his physical fitness. He had never had any suspicions that his body could be anything other than normal. Then, one day in 2009, Brigham visited the doctors concerned about back pain and thought that it could be a kidney infection. He was partly right, he did have a kidney infection. What he was not expecting to hear, however, was that he actually had a total of 5 fully functioning kidneys. Despite the oddity, Brigham is indeed perfectly healthy. Doctors are reluctant to remove any of the extra organs, as they feel it would risk interfering with his nervous system. Tales of people with additional kidneys have grabbed headlines before Brigham, including a Serbian man, a Chinese girl, and 2 Latvian brothers, who all had 4 kidneys each. But so far, Brigham's is the only story of an individual with 5. Number 3. The man with 298 bones. The adult human skeleton is composed of 206 bones, or so it should be. However, Dan Azir from Connecticut has 298. Dan suffers from an extremely rare condition called multiple hereditary exostosis, which has caused him to grow an estimated 92 extra bones throughout his body, particularly around his joints and rib cage. Since the age of 5, Dan has been in and out of surgery. He has had 19 operations to remove 42 bones, which have varied in size from smaller than a pencil eraser to 10 centimeters long. Because Dan's condition is hereditary, he sadly passed it on to all 3 of his children. Luckily, none of them are reported to have had problems anywhere near as significant as their father. And while there is currently no cure for the disease, scientists have identified the gene responsible for causing it, meaning that the total elimination of the condition could be just around the corner. Number 2. The woman with 2 vaginas. When she was 18 years old, Hazel Jones from England visited the doctors, concerned about how she always got terrible cramps and heavy periods during puberty. The astounding diagnosis? She has 2 vaginas. This condition, called uterus didelphys, is surprisingly common, occurring in almost 1 in 2,000 women, with most never realizing. In most cases, it manifests as a double uterus with 2 separate cervices. But sometimes women affected will have 2 vaginas as well. Another woman with the condition, known by her username NurseryRN, hosted an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. She answered questions about her sex life and how she does have a preference of which vagina is used. A common question raised on the forum was what would happen if a woman with uterus didelphys got pregnant in both uteruses at the same time. In 2011, this question was answered when a woman from Florida gave birth to twins from 2 uteruses. This is a 1 in 5 million scenario, seeing as she would have had to have released 2 eggs at once, have them both separately fertilized, and then have them implanted in separate uteruses. The birth occurred without complications, and both babies are happy and healthy. Number 1. The man with 2 penises. It's not only women who can see their sexual organs doubled up, as the condition diphallia can cause men to be born with 2 penises. This condition is somewhat rarer, occurring in 1 in 5.5 million men. Most sufferers have the additional penis surgically removed when they're young, but this isn't always the case. Take one sufferer with the highly appropriate online username Double Dick Dude. He is now in his mid-20s and has 2 fully functioning penises. Like NurseryRN, Double Dick Dude ran a Reddit AMA which has since gone on to become one of the most popular threads on the site. On the forum, he discusses the complications of dating and urinating, and confesses that he wouldn't think about getting one removed now.
Hi guys, if you found this video interesting and want you head over to 10 things found growing inside people, but there are some pretty shocking things in that video, but it's playing on screen now, there's a link in the description, just go and check it out. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching our videos, we really cannot thank you enough. We'll see you next time.
Bhagat was rushed to hospital to get what was assumed to be a tumour cut out of his belly. However, when doctors cut into Bhagat, instead of finding a tumour, they were shocked to see the mutated body of Bhagat's unborn twin inside his stomach. The mutated parasite had limbs, hair, long fingernails, and even genitalia. It was attached to Bhagat's blood supply through an umbilical cord structure, and had been leeching off him since they were first in the womb together. Number 9. Brain food. Rosemary